Hi guys, and welcome back to the first official video from Back of Beyond Tech and new setup. So earlier in the month I promised you a budget build guide, and this is it. So this is aimed mainly at people who are going to be looking at coming from consoles over to PCs, and I think this should convince people that PC gaming isn't expensive. Let's get to it guys, okay? So CPU is a really easy choice. I wanted to pick something that was relatively cheap but gave you pretty good performance. And this is it. So this is the Intel Core i3-6100, 3.7 gigahertz. It's a Skylake chip, so it's the latest IPC that's out at the moment. It's clocked at 3.7 gigahertz, which is absolutely fine. It's fast enough to game on no problem. It's a dual core processor, so it has two physical cores, but it has hyper threading enabled, so it'll actually give you four logical cores. So that's a great thing. So that'll trick games into thinking that you actually do have four cores. And again, it's just the price. It's £92. It's an absolute bargain. You can't complain with that. This thing comes with a stock heatsink. I would just use that heatsink, and it's gonna cool this chip no problem. Um, and there's not a lot else to say about it. I think it's an absolute bargain. It's only 47 watts. Is really low powered, and it will be able to game at 1080p no problem, guys. So that's that one. Let's move on to the motherboard. This is maybe a bit more of an odd choice. People might question why I've gone with a Z170 chipset board for an i3. Well, there's a few reasons for that. Mainly the price. 86 pounds for a Z170 chipset board is really good. And then the other reason, the big reason, is pretty much looking to the future, upgrading. So, you might build this computer and then in 6-7 months time you got a bit spare cash, and you think, damn man, I wanna upgrade this CPU. I wanna get a better CPU. I might want to do some overclocking. And if you buy an i5 or an i7 down the line, and especially if you buy a K series chip, you're going to be able to put that chip in here, and you're going to be able to overclock it no problem. One of the other big positives about this board is that it supports 64 gigs of memory, so again, plenty of expansion for the future, and it'll support that all the way up to 3.2 gigahertz, which is absolutely insane memory speed. It does support RAID. It's probably not a big deal for a lot of people. For me, I think it's a great thing to have. It supports Crossfire, but not SLI. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Most people are just going to go with a single GPU solution anyway. It has two SATA 3 ports running at 6 gigabit per second, and it has two SATA Express ports, which is pretty good. It'll run up to 1 gigabit on the Ethernet, which is plenty fast, and it has two USB 3 headers included. The other thing about this board, I'll show you quickly just now. If I zoom in, you see this little thing here? That's an M.2 port, so you'll be able to install an M.2 drive in this board as well. So you'll be able to have super fast storage in the future if you wanted to. So I think for the money, I think this is a really solid board. Like I say, if you wanted to keep the price down, you don't have to buy a Z170 chipset board. You could buy something else, but I think the amount of upgradability and expandability this board gives you, just pay the money, get one now. If you get into PC gaming, you're going to buy one eventually anyway. The other thing is, this board looks really nice. It's a nice dark, kind of almost black PCB. It looks pretty good. And also, it's got MSI's crystal sound technology there, so basically just means that the audio input and output is shielded from any other noise you might get from inside your machine. So all in all, I think it's a really good buy, and I think looking towards the future, yeah, it's a no-brainer. I think buying something like this is just to make now. You're probably going to want to upgrade in the future anyway. Memory was super easy. I just found the cheapest single 8 gig stick of DDR4 I could find from a decent manufacturer. So this Crucial's coming in at £33. 8 gigs is absolutely fine for gaming at 1080p at the moment. It runs at 2133 megahertz. I wouldn't worry about the speed so much. I mean, if you wanted to, you could probably overclock this anyway, to get it to run a bit faster, but I think that's plenty fast. I wouldn't worry about that. Speed, not so much of an issue when you're gaming, more if you're doing productivity related things like I am. But even then, my memory's not that fast in my rendering machine, so, and I have no problems. So for storage, I haven't gone with a mechanical drive purely to keep the cost of the build down. What I have done is gone with an SSD, because I think an SSD is one of the massive experience advantages we have in PCs over console gamers. Um, I think, going from a console to a PC that has a good SSD in it, you're really going to notice those fast boot times and load times and save times in games. And so that's why I've just gone with an SSD, guys. I think you're going to want one anyway. Why not just stuff? And then in the future, if you want to get a mechanical drive, you can pick one up. And you pick up like a Western Digital 1 terabyte blue for sort of 35, 40 pounds, like, a couple of months down the line when you need one. But I've just gone with the Crucial BX200, 240 gig drive. It's coming in at £60. It's a solid drive. You can go away and look it up, but it's absolutely a beast drive. It's really reliable. It's got a Marvel control on it, so it's really consistent read-write speeds. And 240 gigs is plenty. It's enough space to have your operating system on in quite a few games. I think you'll find it'll take you a while to max out that storage when you're just coming to PC gaming. And like I said, if in a few months you find out you're running out of space, just go on eBay, go on Amazon, you pick up a 1 terabyte drive for next to nothing, stick it in your box, and you're good to go, man. So, graphics card, this is a no-brainer for me. It's £180 well spent in my book. So I've gone for an XFX Radeon RX 470. Really, you could go for any manufacturer as long as it's not a reference RX 470. I just like the way the XFX card looks. You basically just want a non-reference variant, so you're getting a better cooling solution on the card, and you'll also get better acoustics, so the card won't be as loud as a reference card. But these cards are absolute beasts. They absolutely kill games at 1080p on high settings. You'll get sort of 60 FPS, no problem. If you don't believe me, you can head on over to Jay's 2 Cents and Linus Tech Tips, and they've reviewed these cards, and it's really where that 1080p gaming experience sweet spot is. I think coming from consoles, going over to PC gaming using a card like this, you'll just notice an absolutely huge difference in fidelity, and everything will look better. It'll be more fluid. I mean, you don't even need a good monitor. You just plug it into your TV and you're going to have a better experience than you already are. So yeah, solid card for me there. The case, again, I tried to pick something that wasn't just a black box. I wanted something that had a little bit of style to it, and if possible had a side window in it so you could see inside your PC. So this Bitfenix Nova ATX case is coming in at just under £30. I've gone with white. You could go with any colour, and it ticks all the boxes. It's not just a boring black box, and it's got a side panel window, which is really good. I think there's one picture here. Yeah, so you get the idea. You can see inside your computer. It's really cool. You can see all your bits. It's got 2 USB 3 headers on the front, I think. Yeah, there they are. They're up there. 2 USB 3, power button, reset button, front panel audio as well there. So yeah, and it looks pretty good. I quite like the Bitfenix look. It's clean. It's got a little logo there, but the white's really nice. Bottom mounted power supply, which is a plus. Tons of expandability because it supports full ATX. Now it has, if we go back to the front picture, it's got 2 5¼ inch bays at the front, so if you wanted to, you could put a DVD drive in there, or a Blu-ray drive or something like that. It has then 2 2.5 inch drives, yeah, 2 2.5 inch bays, so for SSDs, and 4 3.5 inch bays for sort of mechanical drives and things like that. So absolutely great case for the money. I can't really critique it for £30. It's an absolute bargain. and it'll support graphics cards up to just over a foot long, which is fantastic. So no problems fitting an aftermarket card in. Power supply I've gone with, again, I wanted to go for something that was relatively cheap, budget orientated, so this is coming in at £34, but I didn't want to get something that was crap. Basically, I wanted a decent power supply in there, something you're not going to have to worry about. So EVGA, they've been making really good power supplies now for like the last sort of 5-6 years, so no problem recommending this whatsoever. 430 watts is enough power, plenty of power for this machine, and it's 80 plus certified, so that just means that you're going to get something that's a bit more power efficient. It's going to help you keep down those energy bills. I mean, it's a no frills power supply, guys. It's not modular, but at least they've made a bit of an effort with the cables here, trying to, you know, cover up the fact that they're just kind of yellow and red wires essentially. So I quite like the fact they put a bit of sleeving on there to mask that. You know, you can still see it, but it's a nice touch. And there you go, there's the identification, 430 watts. So yeah, this power supply is absolutely fine. It'll serve you well, and like I say, it's plenty power even if you wanted to upgrade to an i5 or something like that. So that's it, guys. It's coming in at just over £510 there. I think that's an absolute bargain. It doesn't include peripherals, but I think if you're just getting into PC gaming, you've probably got a keyboard and mouse lying about your house somewhere you could use. Again, it doesn't include Windows, but later on this week I am going to be doing a video on how I buy Windows legitimately, and I haven't paid more than £15 in a good number of years for a legitimate copy of Windows. So again, I don't think that's a massive additional cost, but I'll cover that later on this week in another video, guys. But for me, this is a solid build. If you're just getting into PC gaming, you know, I think you can spend a lot of money on PC rigs and gaming rigs, and you know, you're totally right, but you don't have to. And I hope this build proves that you don't have to spend a stupid amount of money to get a really good gaming experience. It's a bit more expensive than the current generation consoles out there, but it's probably going to be around the same price as the next gen consoles that are coming out. You know, and to be honest, you'll have a better experience using this than you will using one of those, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, but that's it, guys. I'll put a link to the build guide in the video description, and I'll hit you up next month with another build guide. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but lots of ideas. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, more importantly. And don't forget to hit me up on Twitter or Facebook if you've got any questions or comments, or you want to talk about the choices I've made. That's not a problem, guys. So take it easy, and I'll catch you in another great tech video. Bye now.